Hector is the son of King Priam, making him a prince of Troy. Most significantly in the Iliad, he is the brother of Paris, the cause of the Trojan War. Hector finds himself fighting in the Trojan War when Paris decides, depending on which story you follow, that he wants Helen, wife of Menelaus, despite being able to have pretty much any woman in Troy. Because of his brother's actions, it ends with this being one of the most famous images of Hector. But instead of Hector being the one on the chariot, he is instead the one being dragged behind it. A clear characteristic of Hector is his being a great warrior. Hector is known to be the greatest warrior in Troy, with his fighting skills being famous. In Book 6 of the Iliad, Hector says, "Do not offer me cheering wine, dear mother, or you may sap the strength from my limbs and make me lose the courage to fight." Here, Hector acknowledges not only that he needs to be completely focused, showing that he is not arrogant in his skill as a warrior, but also with the mention of courage, he is telling his mother that he is not naive to the risks of war, and he knows he could be killed. This humanizes Hector, as it shows that despite being a warrior, he is still only human and is not fearless when faced with danger. However, despite this, Achilles is the best warrior from both sides, and this is the reason Hector is unsuccessful in the fight, and is consequently killed by Achilles. Opposite to his being a great fighter, Hector also clearly appreciates his role as a family man. Andromache expresses how important he is for her when she retells the death of her family and then tells Hector, "You were father and honoured mother and brother to me, as well as strong husband." Hector's ability to fulfill all these roles in her eyes shows us the devotion to her he clearly has. Also, after reaching out to his son, Hector realizes that his son is afraid of him with his helmet on, and so glorious Hector took the helmet straight from his head and laid it gleaming bright on the ground. Hector removing his helmet shows his love for his son, as he so easily puts aside what is a representation of his strength and status. Hector's morals are clearly shown with his disapproval of Paris's actions. Paris angers Hector when, instead of fighting, he is in the safety of the palace, cleaning his armour, and Hector tells him, "Our people are dying, fighting right by the city and its steep wall, and it is all because of you." Not only is he showing his disapproval for Paris not fighting, but also for causing the war in the first place. Paris willingly admits that Hector is right, before telling Hector he will follow him back out to the fight. However, it could be argued that Hector is a hypocrite for calling out Paris for being a coward, when he himself runs away from Achilles instead of fighting him after he no longer had the courage to stand his ground where he was. Although eventually Hector does fight Achilles, it is only because Athene disguises herself as one of Hector's brothers before disappearing when Hector is confronted with Achilles. Finally, Hector has a clear respect for the gods. Although it could be argued that he simply wants the gods to be in Troy's favour when he demands, "Well, I go to Ilios and tell old men of the council and our own wives to pray to the gods and promise them full sacrifices." This is hard to validate after he tells his mother, "My hands are unwashed and I am ashamed to pour out gleaming wine to Zeus like this," as that is more personal matter and Hector simply wants to show full respect.